and welcome to this fourth lesson in this series. Today we're going to talk about composing, and when I first started out wanting to compose songs or pieces in this style, I felt like I was just searching blindly for something that would work. I just thought, okay, let's compose something, and then I just went ahead and tried to come up with stuff by messing around on the fretboard with scales and arpeggios. And some people do it this way with quite a lot of success, but it suddenly didn't work for me. So I listened to the compositions and songs that others wrote and started figuring out simple systems and concepts that completely took the mystery out of composing a good piece of neoclassical or melodic rock music. These insights and methods are really complete descriptions of the craft of composing. And because it's a craft, it's like anything else. It's got insights and skills and methods and systems that you can use to get a great result very fast. Just like any other craft. Composing something that really moves you emotionally is an art. But the better you are at your craft, the longer you can take it, the more you can focus on the art of composing instead of the mechanics of it. And when you don't know the mechanics or the craft, the entire process of composition becomes, or of composing, becomes art as well, because you don't know what you're doing, really. So it's like searching and probing endlessly. In the Neoclassical Academy program, I'm going to give you a completely predictable and easy system that you can use to create the most amazing classical sounding or melodic sounding compositions very fast. And I really mean that. You can throw a piece together so fast that people are going to go, how are you doing that? That's impossible. You surely must be a genius. And they're going to call you the Mozart dude for the rest of your life. Seriously. I hope it doesn't sound unrealistic, because it's not, and I'm going to prove it to you right now or in a second. I'm going to just scratch the surface of this system and take a tiny little bit, and this will really enable you to create something that sounds pretty good. That's how effective this stuff is. So let's look at first how to sequence a chord progression, and then how to combine that with a melodic sequence. So what we're going to do is really use some basic math to create something that sounds like music. First, I'm going to show you how to create a chord progression by using a sequence. And afterwards, I'm going to show you how to create a little tool that you can put your sequences, your melodic sequences into, and put some melody on top of those chords. I should say that it's not always, you don't always start with a chord progression when you compose something, but it's a good way to inspire you to come up with different lines. So when you hear a really good chord progression, very often you start hearing melodies in your head. So if I play, then you can almost start hearing a possible melody on top of that. So let's sequence a chord progression very quickly. A sequence is really just a pattern of notes repeating themselves. And in this example, I'm going to start on the A minor chord, which is the tonic of the key A minor. And then I'm going to move down in fifths. So from the A, which is here in the 7th fret on the D string, I'm going to move 2 steps down, 2 frets down on that string, and then jump up to the next string, which would give me a D. And that's jumping down a fifth. Please refer to the PDF that comes with this lesson so you have an overview. So I'm going to jump from the A to the D, and then from that D I'm going to build a chord. I'm going to go up 2 steps and then up 2 steps again. And that gives me a D minor triad, which is the D minor chord. Then from that D there, I'm going to jump down a fifth again, because that's our little sequence here. So I go 2 frets down and then up 1 string, and that's a G. And if you build a chord from that G, you get a G major chord. You can see that in the PDF again. So you get that G major. Then from that G, I have a G there in the 5th fret on the D string again. I can jump down a fifth, which would give me the C, and that would be a C major. And then again, down to the F, a fifth down, which would give me the F major again. And then from that F, down a fifth, oh, that gives me a B flat, which is not in the scale. So I'm just going to replace that and say we have a B. So let's do the B. No rule without an exception. So I jump down a fifth from the F. That gives me a B flat. That's not doesn't belong in the key. So I'm going to replace that with the B. And when I build a chord from the B, I get a B half diminished chord. Down a fifth from a B gives me an E, an E minor in this case, but I'm going to change the scale, the whole scale now, to a harmonic minor, which would again give me an E major chord instead of the minor chord. If this goes a little fast and you think, nah, what's happening, then I completely understand, and I'm going to give you a thorough explanation in the program. It's a fast, thorough explanation, but it's an explanation that will show you just what happens here. And so we have A minor, D minor, G, and C, F, and B, and then E major chord there. So that's our progression. And that's just one example of how to build a chord progression, and we always try to tie it together so that E major there comes before that A minor, before we return again and close the circle. Let's just do quickly another example of sequencing a chord progression. We're going to start on the A minor again, since we are in the key of A minor. Then we're going to go 2 steps down in the scale, then 1 step up, then 2 steps down, then 1 step up, 2 down, 1 up, 2 down, 1 up, all the time. So from the A, we're going to go down 2 steps, and please see the PDF, which would give us the F major chord. Then we're going to go 1 step up, which would give us the G major chord in this scale, in this key. And then 2 steps down, which gives us the E minor. We're not going to change that right now, because we're not returning to, if we were returning to the A minor, the tonic, then we would change that to a major. Going to keep the minor now. And then 1 step up to the F again, then 2 steps down. We should have a D down here, but I'm going to play that right there. And then 1 step up again, which would give us the E. And now we're going to change it to a major chord. And perhaps put the suspended fourth, so we get a nice down to the A minor. Again, if you're confused, don't worry, everything will be explained. So now we have this progression. That was our fifth chord progression I just played. So we can combine those two and go. Oh, sorry, I forgot one last time. So I forgot the F again. And then fifths. So what happens really here is that your ear recognizes sequences in the chord progression, and that a style of music is really just cliches being fired off, and that's what tells you what style you're listening to. There's a particular sound and instruments that plays the style, and then there's different cliches, and a basic premise of classical Baroque music is sequences everywhere, on every level, which is really nice for us, because then we have something systematic to work with. Let's now develop the second part, and that's a melodic tool on top of this chord progression. We're going to work with the one in fifths, and in the neoclassical program here, we have a whole system of possible sequences that you can use to build chord progression and put those together. And then we have for each of these chord progressions or sequences, we have a tool, a melodic tool that you can use, and I'm going to show you one of them right now. So for the A minor, we have those 6 notes right up here. Again, see the PDF. Starting in the 8th fret, 10th and 12th on both strings, the B and E. So those are the ones we're going to use. And then we're going to go 1 step up and play 10, 12, 11th on both the B and the E string. Go to my website, download the PDF so you can see what I'm talking about. For the D minor, then the G, we're going to jump down now. The funny thing is, we're following a system of 1 up, 2 down, 1 up, 2 down, to follow a chord progression that goes down in fifths. So this is systems all over the place. So 1 up, then 2 down, and 1 up, then 2 down, 1 up, and 2 down. So we're taking groups of 6 notes and sequencing like this. So we're not only having sequences, we're having sequences that moves in sequences to a chord progression that is a sequence. So, so let's just use this tool. Now we have a chord progression and we have a melodic tool. So let's put sequences within this, and then let me just play some examples of how that could sound. So here comes the jam track, or the backing track, if we're lucky. I'm just staying on the E string. A little more complex. So that's really fun, and you can of course prepare different kinds of sequences, like I did before, where I played the simple one first. And then see if you can use those and get inspired by those. I'm just going to play the more complex one again. So it becomes fun to compose in this way because you're not searching and probing, you're trying out different stuff. And then suddenly what happens for me is, and this little piece is not a reflection of it, it took me 5 minutes to just create that. What happens suddenly when you mess around with this is that suddenly you get inspired. Suddenly, oh, there's an idea. And then you start combining sequences and changing them a little, and suddenly things unfold. And that's what it becomes art, really, because that's a process that you don't quite understand where that comes from, that inspiration to change things in a meaningful way. So that's really the basic system here. And as I said, this is just a tiny example of what a systematic and methodical approach can do for you. Now, imagine having tons of simple, easy ways of building chord progressions and melodies like this. Tons of specific systems like this. This will turn you into a master composer very quickly. The only thing you really need, apart from these two things, from the chords and the sequencing tools, are form templates, which is basically how different pieces, like the one we just played here, are arranged together into entire compositions or songs. And because we're also going to look at how can we make songs out of this, because no one can sing that fast. So if you want to create a really good song, you have to learn to speed down your sequences so you can create some really great verse with some nice lyrics on top of them and so on. But the form templates are really easy to handle, because all that is really is a bunch of different templates and a few rules that you can put your ideas into to create entire songs. And the last thing we need to look at is cadences, which is how you end the stream of sequences in a powerful and meaningful way. But that's about it. When you first get a lot of effective ways to create sequential chord progression and sequences, and on top of that put melodic tools that you can put your sequences into, and like the one you just saw, and then when we begin to structure these different things into entire compositions following forms that guys like Paganini and Bach and Mozart used, then you have the power to create song after song, composition after composition, while having immense fun seeing it all unfold. Now, go download this video, the charts and the jam track, and then start using what we've been talking about. I challenge you to come up with just a little composition right now using the jam track and the tools that I just showed you. And then use that jam track and see what it sounds like when you begin to see if you can find a little piece there that makes sense to you. In the beginning, it's going to seem silly, like start playing something. But as you get more tools and you do this several times, you just keep doing it, then you start to get some experience and some confidence in yourself, and that's when composing becomes really, really fun. So be sure to send me any questions you have or comments right beneath or below, I think it is, below the video, and then I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.